What's going on? Live from GenreBlast. I'm here with yet another filmmaker, and he is the writer-director of the short film Settle the Score, and is Mr. Jesse Womack. How are you doing this morning?
Doing all right, Josh. How about you?
Malfunctioning, apparently.
It's good, man. It's early.
This is one of the most entertaining, lighthearted films that I've come across, and then it has that sinister twist at the end. I really resonated with this movie. But before we jump into why, tell us a little bit about the premise of the film.
Okay, so it follows two roommates, Jack and Sam. Jack has just shown Sam one of his favorite movies, and Sam did not really like it. So the entire film is basically Jack trying to convince Sam of why this is a good movie. And I can't really say much more without spoiling it, but that's the basic premise.
So we can't talk about the risk element and
we can.
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah. I was
Sorry.
I've only ever played Risk one time in my life, and it is as intense as this movie makes it out to be. But there's still you still kind of manage to have this really lighthearted tone about it. Can you kind of talk about balancing intensity with lightheartedness?
Sure. And just to elaborate more on what you were saying. So they play a silly game of apartment risk is what they play to determine whether or not Sam will admit it's a good movie, essentially, is what happened. And you said how to kind of elaborate between lightheartedness and sinister. So, yeah, I mean, the game itself, it was kind of the lighthearted part of it. And that was one of the parts I really thought was going to really sell the twist that comes in the middle of it, as far as the darker twist. And, it was just really fun, just kind of playing the game more or less and that kind of thing. You can tell that they're kind of roommates as well when they're playing the game, in my opinion, anyway. And, it just makes the twist that much more, run home.
Can you kind of talk about how the film came to be? I imagine a premise like this is you guys are actually playing Risk, couple of beers in, you're this would make a great short film. What if we did X, Y, and Z?
So it was probably something similar to that. I made a shorter version of this a long time ago. And then this film that you'll see Sunday is a longer and darker version of it. But anyway, drinking probably did help a little bit, but yeah, I just remember thinking that it would be fun to make a short about playing Risk, but the territories are the different rooms of the apartment. And then I kind of added the darker twist later just to kind of have another layer as far as to why they're playing the game and that kind of thing. So I basically married two different ideas together, and that's what this is.
I'm kind of curious what this looks like, as you mentioned, this being a kind of an extended version of a previous short that you had done. How does this one differ from what you had previously done?
Okay, this one is much darker for sure, as far as the kind of turns it takes and that kind of thing. The other one was definitely more just kind of slapstick comedy. This one is not really so much that as much as it is a dark comedy, really. That's probably the biggest difference. Also, this short is about double the length as the first one. The first one was 3 minutes long. This one's 7.
So I don't want to give the twist away, but one of the final shots, there is a lot of little army guys in there. How long does a shot like that take to set up? Does it looks like it takes a lot, but I'm honestly just kind of curious.
So this entire short, we did it in a day. We did it in one shooting day. So it really, we were kind of, certain things we set up longer than others. That was one of them, just because we had to set up the guys and get different angles and that kind of thing. I think that was actually the last thing we shot was that. And, but the operation I have is not very big. So it doesn't really take a ton to set up. I just have one camera and one boom mic. I mean, it's a super easy setup. It's, zero budget, and it's just me and a couple friends. So it's not as crazy as some of these other, bigger budget shorts we've seen and that kind of thing, as far as setting up time and everything like that. I think we shot it in 7 hours or something, the whole short. So I think for that, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, like an hour a minute. Like that's
Right.
that's not bad. So with when you're talking about like bringing in kind of like the mental health aspect of it, because that's what we do here, and Risk is like one of those games that can like has the power to like make or break a relationship. It's very similar to like Monopoly, like it tends to get to intense. How did you guys go about kind of establishing early on like safety precautions in terms of like nobody's feelings getting hurt or like no relationships kind of getting broken and stuff like that?
So we didn't really have too much of an issue with that because so I'm one of the actors in it as well, and then my friend Tyler plays Jack. He's also a trained actor, and me and him have been friends for a while, so we kind of just are able to take liberties that most people wouldn't, you know. And I think that was part of the reason why it came out so well as far as the performance aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, me and him are pretty wide open with each other, so I don't think we really had too much of an issue with that, just because of that aspect.
So this is I guess more a question for me than it is for the audience. I don't want to jump in and give away like the big twists, but can we at least talk about can you name the film genre of the greatest movie of all time? And this film is kind of like sets everything in motion.
Okay, so they argue about a musical is what the movie is. It's a musical, which is even goofier because I've submitted it to a few other fests of this size that have actually given me feedback videos and stuff, which is part of the submission fee. And multiple of them have said these guys don't look like they'd watch musicals, and that's what's so funny about it too. Because I thought the same thing. Like when I was editing it, I was like, I don't think we look like guys who would watch musicals, and sure enough, like people have said that too, which is funny. So that's one of the funniest bits to me, anyway. Is that it's about a musical, and hopefully people like it. You know,
I'm not gonna say like what musical everything starts over, but do you agree with the choice of the musical that the Jack's character is defending in this movie?
Yeah. So the reason I picked that one is because I dated a girl in high school, and she and her family like loved that movie, and very much I wrote the character of Sam for myself because I am Sam. Like I was like, okay, this movie's just okay. You know, I didn't really think that much of it, you know, once they hyped it up for me and that kind of thing. So that's another reason why I picked that one. But also I just know for a fact that it's a popular musical movie as well. I mean, I thought that might resonate with more people and that kind of thing who have maybe seen it, you know, as well. So I thought it was that was the reason I thought it was a good choice.
We'll talk about it off camera, but I was like very surprised when they actually like name dropped like what the movie was, and I was like, I was expecting something like not that. Like it was just something that I was expecting like otherwise, but yeah. So this movie is currently playing in GenreBlast. Where else can we find it? What's the festival run look like for you guys?
So after GenreBlast, I don't know if we have any actual selections so far after this, like chronologically. There is more selection choices to be had, but no official selections like after this one is what I mean so far. We do have a few more later this year to be decided on, but other than that, it's played at a bunch of other festivals domestically, you know, since then. But I will be putting it on YouTube like once it's done with the festival circuit. So it probably will be on YouTube within at least a few months.
That was going to be my last question. It was like, when would the public be able to see it if they can't get out to the festivals? But that works out. So where can we find you online, and where can people keep an eye out for the short?
Okay, so my YouTube channel is Womack 900. That's just my last name, WOMACK 900. That's my YouTube channel. I put everything on there. I don't really do Vimeo or anything like that. I'm not that fancy. So I just use YouTube. And then I've got Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Just search my name, Jesse Womack. My Instagram handle is my name, but it's with like 6 O's. So it's Jesse Womack. It is 6 O's, exactly. If you want to find me on Instagram. Other than that, that's really it.
We'll provide links to all of the show notes, all of his links in the show notes below. Along down there, you guys will also find links to more interviews from this year's GenreBlast, mental health resources, and Patreon and social medias for us, and the subscribe button. So hit that below. And Jesse, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
All right, we'll see you guys in the future.